in state online lectures. Myself Khan Nazir Iqbal, and today we'll start with another part of the uh, heritage management, second and the last part of heritage management. But before that, we'll take a quick revision what we have learned yesterday. So in this there are four different parts in this particular chapter, that is which is included in heritage management. The first is sources of history and their conservation and preservation, and in that we have studied about the how. Second is related with some museums, some famous museums. Third is libraries and archives, and fourth one is encyclopedias. So yesterday, children, when we have started the lesson, we have studied about the three important sources and how they should be preserved and maintained, and what are the different training and different special skills are required for the same. In that, we have studied about oral sources, written sources, and material sources. Dealing with the first one, oral sources, we have studied how important oral sources are and how to maintain that particular oral sources. Then written sources, next is material sources, and then we have studied about some famous museums, that how those artifacts which are preserved by the archaeologists has to be maintained in the museums, and how the museology is one of the important branches of social science. And I've also told you that in museology you can make your career. Okay. Then we have studied about some famous museums of India. Then these are some famous museums which offers courses of museology also. Here are the list: National Museum at Delhi, Maharaja Siyajirao University at Vadodara, Kolkata University, Kolkata, Banaras Hindu University, Varanasi, Aligarh Muslim University, Aligarh, and Jivaji University, Gwalior. So these are some university which offers the courses of museology. Then here are the list of some famous museums which are well known for their artifacts: Indian Museum at Kolkata, National Museum Delhi, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Vastu Sangrahalaya Mumbai, and Salar Jung Museum Hyderabad, and Salkyo Museum of Textile Ahmedabad. Then today we'll be starting with the third part of your lesson, that is libraries and archives. In libraries and archives, we kept the books. The libraries, all you all know what library actually is, and archives are where the documents of the related to the past. The National Archives of India is situated in Delhi. Okay, but archives is the place where old newspapers, old magazines, journals are kept for their documentation and for record purpose. But before that, we'll start with the libraries. Libraries are the storehouse of knowledge and information. Library science is very closely related to management science, information technology, and the field of education. Libraries Libraries perform various tasks like collecting books, arranging them systematically, conservation and preservation of those books, dissemination of information sources, etc. Now, libraries are the storehouse of knowledge and information. As you all know, that in the libraries we kept the books. And books are the great source of knowledge and information. That's why where the books are kept, that are called libraries, and that's why they are also called as the great storehouse of the knowledge. Library science is very closely related to management science and information technology and the field of education. Now, children, as you all know, that it all brings together, because nowadays for maintaining the library, information technology is used. That means for maintaining the record of the books in which the particular book is kept, all that is maintained by the on maintained on the computer. That's why here it said that library science is closely related with information and information technology, and also with education. Now, in mostly in schools we have libraries, right? That is very common in and then that's why that they both are closely related: education and science, technology, and library. Libraries perform various tasks like collecting books, arranging them systematically, conservation and preservation of those books, dissemination of information sources, etc. Now, children, as you all know, that here we are not talking about the simple books. We are talking about the oldest books of history. For example, those books, those who are 400 years back, 500 years back, but those who are still preserved in the libraries. So there is proper procedure to maintain those books. For example, with the passage of time, those book condition of those books can be deteriorate, वो खराब होती जाती है, इसलिए उनको maintain करने के लिए एक proper procedure follow किया जाता है. Many of these tasks are completed with the help of computerized system. And now what happened? We are doing what we are doing. We are having the online system. We scan those books on the computer, and we are making store to that particular in the soft copy also. Books are in the hard copy form, and whatever we store in the computer, it is in soft copy. So here there are some books which are very in miserable condition, in very bad condition. So what we are doing, we are making this scan of those particular pages, and we are just keeping them in the computer. Now many of these tasks are completed with the help of computerized system. To make a book available to a reader as per his requirement is the most important aspect of library management. Now, children, if you'll go in the book in the library, you'll find that there are thousands, nearly 10,000 books, 12,000, 50,000 books. In some libraries, there are 1 lakh books. So, if you'll enter in the library, if you want one book to read of your choice, then how you will find that particular book? There is particular procedure for that. For example, if you want to study the book of history, so they can go to the history section. In history, which period you want to study: medieval, modern, Indian books, Western book, European countries book. So there are particular sections. So there is particular maintenance, एक proper maintenance है उसको maintain उस तरह से उसको maintain किया जाता है कि within a minute you will find your book of your choice. आपको कुछ मिनटों में ही आपकी choice की book मिल जाएगी. So all that procedure is maintained by whom? By the librarian. So there is a particular management of a library, and that is also come under the heritage management. जो library को manage करता है, that person is called as librarian, and all this management of books, to manage that particular books in proper sequence, and to preserve those books, to conserve those books, उनको मैनेज करने के लिए जो पर्सन होता है, दैट इज कॉल्ड एज लाइब्रेरियन. और उस सबके ये पूरे प्रोसीजर को हम क्या कहते हैं? वी आर कॉल्ड इज लाइब्रेरी मैनेजमेंट. एंड लाइब्रेरी मैनेजमेंट इज ऑल्सो इंक्लूडेड इन हेरिटेज मैनेजमेंट, क्योंकि हेरिटेज मैनेजमेंट में हम क्या पढ़ रहे हैं? अवर हेरिटेज. एंड बुक्स आर ऑल्सो अवर great heritage which provides great information about the past. Moving further, here are some examples of libraries, that how the libraries has started. The royal libraries of Ashurbanipal, 7th century BC, and Assyrian Empire in Mesopotamia. The library at Takshila University, 5th century BC, 5th century, and the library in Alexandria, Egypt, are supposed to be the earliest libraries in the world. Now, these are some of the earliest libraries, oldest libraries of the world. So, children, these libraries are having the oldest books. 5th century. Here, if the library is of 5th century, you can already guess that how old these libraries are. And in the books which are there in these libraries, they are also oldest books. So what? How to preserve those libraries? How to manage these kinds of libraries and books in these libraries? That all will come under the library management. And there is BLEAP. एक BLEAP का बाकायदा course होता है, where you can, if you'll complete that particular course, you will become librarian, and you'll get jobs in these libraries. You will either in private libraries or in the libraries of school. Librarian का एक बाकायदा क्या होता है? कोर्स होता है. Then here are also some of the important libraries. The Saraswati Mahal Granthalaya in Tanjore, Tamil Nadu was built in 16th century during the times of Nayak dynasty. In 1675 century, Venkoji Raje Bhosle conquered Tanjore and established his independent rule. Now, Venkoji Raje Bhosle and his successors kept expanding Saraswati Mahal, Granthalaya. Sarfoji Raje Bhosle contributed the most in this expansion. Now, this is the library from the Maratha period. Then again in 1918, the library was renamed as Tanjore Maharaja Sarfoji Saraswati Mahal Library in his honor. Now, it is still situated there in Tanjore. Now, there are several noteworthy libraries in India. For instance, National Library, Kolkata, Nehru Memorial Museum, and Library, Delhi. State Central Library, State Central Library. There are several noteworthy libraries in India. For instance, National Library, Kolkata, Nehru Memorial Museum, and Library, Delhi. Now, State Central Library, Hyderabad, Library of Asiatic Society, and David Saxon Library, Mumbai, etc. Now, from the technical point of view, the management of archive is akin to library management, preserving documents with the important content in their original condition, preparing indexes, and creating accurate system of retrieval of documents are the important tasks in the management of archives. Documents from the archives are supposed to be very reliable. Because of the heavy dependency on the computer system, information technology has become an inevitable part of management of libraries. Now, to manage the libraries, we have the computer system to manage all those records. Now, again, libraries are now second part is archives. What will come under the archives? Now, these are the archives of the government officials. Now, government जो postal system होता है, government officials के documentation होते हैं, which are kept in a particular record, those will come under the archives. The first official archives of India, the Imperial Record Department, was established in 1891 century in Kolkata. It was first established in Kolkata. It was shifted to Delhi in 1911. In 1998, Indian President of India, Honorable K.R. Narayan, and opened the archives of public. Now that's why the first archives of India in independent India is situated in Delhi. It is department under the jurisdiction of the Ministry of the Culture of Indian government. Now it is totally run by the Indian government. Children, the document have been preserved here in chronological order from 1748. Now you can understand chronological order means proper sequence में वहाँ पे documentation रखिए गए हैं, and it is from the year 1748 and now we are in 2020. So you can easily guess that how old that particular archive is. Nearly 300 years back, all the documentation are preserved there. So it includes records in English, Arabic, Hindi, Persian. Now all these languages records are maintained there. Sanskrit and Urdu languages. It also includes records in Modi scripts. Now these records are classified in four categories: public records, Oriental studies, manuscripts, and private records. Now, children, there are different categories to maintain the records. There are different categories. First one is related with public. Now public records, that means of letters from the public, old letters. They're Orientalist studies. Now what it was Oriental studies, that means which is related with some kinds of praiseworthy documents of kings, queens, all that. Manuscripts, which is related with religion. And private records, that means the private letters which are sent to person. For example, between two relatives, or between king and queens and their relatives. All those records or letters are preserved there. So there are important categories of those records. Government of every state in India maintain independent archives, and not only in Delhi we have archives of India, but in all the states their own um, state government maintains archives of India. For example, Maharashtra government will maintain their own archives. So the archives of Maharashtra state government has branches in Mumbai, Pune, Kolhapur, Aurangabad, and Nagpur, where only the official documents are maintained. There are about 5 crores Modi documents related to Maratha history in Pune branch. These documents are referred to as Peshwa Daftar. Now, hope you understand. Now, hope you have understood about the libraries and archives. Then we'll move further to the encyclopedia. Last part of your lesson is encyclopedia.
Encyclopedias. Encyclopedia is libraries and archives. According to the Merriam-Webster's dictionary, library is defined as a place in which literary, musical, artistic, or reference materials such as books, manuscripts, recordings, or films are kept for use but not for sale. From this definition, one can surmise that libraries are storehouses of knowledge and information. The subject of library science is closely related to the fields of management science and education. Libraries performed various essential tasks such as collecting books, arranging them in a systematic manner, their conservation and preservation, dissemination of information on various sources, etc. Many of these tasks were completed with the aid of computerized systems. Making a particular book available to a reader as per his requirement is the most important aspect of library management. The library at Taxila or Takshashila University, 5th century BCE to 5th century CE. The Royal Library of Ashurbanipal, 7th century BCE, the Assyrian Emperor of Mesopotamia, and the library at Alexandria, Egypt, 4th century BCE, are the earliest surviving libraries in the world. The Saraswati Mahal Granthalay or the Tanjore Maharaja Serfoji's Saraswati Mahal Library or TMSSML in Tanjavur, Tamil Nadu was built in 16th to 17th century CE during the times of the Nayak dynasty. Following the end of Nayak dynasty in 1675 CE, Vyankoji Raje Bhosle, the younger half-brother of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, and his successors, particularly Sarfoji II, 1798 to 1832, supervised the expansion of this museum. The museum housed a rare collection of palm leaf manuscripts and papers written due to heavy dependency on computerized systems in recent times. Information technology has become an inevitable part of the management of libraries and archives. The first official archive of India, the Imperial Record Department, which would soon come to be known as the National Archives of India or NAI, was established on 11th March 1891 CE in Kolkata. It was later shifted to Delhi in 1911 CE, following the transfer of the capital of India during the British Raj from the very same locations. On 6th July 1998 CE, the then President of India, the Honorable K.R. Narayanan, declared the Museum of National Archives open to the general public. The NAI was under the jurisdiction of the Ministry of Culture of the Indian government. The documents preserved here are arranged in a chronological order since 1748 CE. It included records in English, Arabic, Hindi, Persian, Sanskrit, and Urdu languages. It also included records in the Modi script. These records are classified into four categories. 1. Public records. 2. Oriental studies. 3. Manuscripts. 4. Private records. State governments in India maintained their own independent archives. For instance, Archives of the Maharashtra state government has its branches situated in Mumbai, Pune, Kolhapur, Aurangabad, and Nagpur. There are 5 crore or 50 million Modi documents related to Maratha history housed in the Pune branch. These documents are referred to as Peshwa Daftar.
Now moving further, now we'll have the encyclopedias, first and last part of your chapter. That is encyclopedias. Now, what are the important benefits? What is actually the encyclopedia? As you can see in the picture, also, encyclopedia is a book. Actually, it is a compilation, a book of information about a particular and a specific method. That means here, particular specific method. For example, here I want to say you that encyclopedia is a compilation of a book or information which is compiled in a specific method or arranged in a specific method. And for example, if you'll take the encyclopedia of history, in that also you'll find different categories. Social. In social, if you'll find it, only customs will be given there. Then traditions will be there. The one encyclopedia will be there. In that only tradition will be given. One encyclopedia will be only information of kings will be given there. Information of ancient history, information of medieval history. So there are different kinds of encyclopedias are there. And so encyclopedias is a systematic compilation of information or knowledge of various topics. The information or knowledge in encyclopedia is arranged with a specific method. Organizing available knowledge and making it accessible is the main objective of encyclopedia. Means to make the available for the people to, so that they will read the encyclopedia, they will get an information about the that particular subject. Then what are the benefits of encyclopedia? Here are the some important benefits of encyclopedia. Encyclopedias make vast volume of knowledge accessible to readers. It can help in satisfying their curiosity. Second, encyclopedias provide fundamental information in any topic in order to understand it properly. Thus, the reader gets motivated to read extensively. Third, encyclopedias make the existing knowledge easily accessible to scholars and researchers and also highlight the researchers' areas which have not received enough attention. Now, it is of the full research information, and as you can see in the picture, the Britannica is again one of the very famous encyclopedia. Encyclopedia are an indicator of state cultural reputation of society. The intellectual and cultural needs of society determine what kind of encyclopedic literature could be created. Accuracy, meticulousness, objectivity, standard, standardized format of presentation, and updated information are the criteria for designing a structure of encyclopedia. It is designed very meticulously. For example, it's not like book that huge information is given, but whatever specific information is given, it is given in detail, it is given in meticulously, and all the information which is given in encyclopedia is very when it was written and updated, it is written on the basis of different researches. In order to incorporate the latest available information, revised edition of encyclopedias or supplements to original edition needs to be published. And if you want to update particular encyclopedia, okay, if for example in volume 1 information is given till 2001, so if you want to update about information 2002 2003 of a particular event, what they will do, they will publish the separate volume of that particular encyclopedia. Encyclopedias are arranged either in alphabetical order or according to the order of topics. As I will told you that, for example, if the ancient history encyclopedia is there, in that also events, if it is about events or if it is about queens, or about particular traditional culture or about particular, may it be about any topic, it will be arranged in a proper alphabetical order or maybe according to the topic. The encyclopedia can be created either by single editor or an editorial committee. The articles in that are written by subject experts and it is written by subject experts. Now next, there are three important types of encyclopedia. First one is dictionary. Second is comprehensive encyclopedia, Vishwakosh, and encyclopedic uh, Koshdrush literature, and fourth one is indexes. Now, first one is dictionaries. You all know what dictionary is. Dictionaries are arranged in words in language in certain order, alphabetical orders in more common, in give meanings of words, synonyms and etymology. Now, उसके similar meanings देते हैं, उसके etymology देते हैं, मतलब कि noun है, pronoun है, adjective है, that is called as etymology of that particular word. तो ये सब हमें पता चलता है. If you will take the Oxford Dictionary, children, उसमें उसके मीनिंग्स दिए रहेंगे, उसमें दिया हुआ रहेगा वो वर्ब है, नाउन है, एडजेक्टिव है, प्रोनाउन है, व्हाट एक्चुअली इट इज. देयर आर वेरियस टाइप्स ऑफ डिक्शनरीज. Comprehensive dictionaries, dictionaries which include any certain type of words. Dictionaries of terminology deals with terms peculiar to a branch of knowledge. Etymological dictionaries, theses, dictionaries of idioms and proverbs. All this will include in the uh, dictionaries. Second encyclopedia is comprehensive encyclopedia, Vishwakosh. There are two types of Vishwakosh. First one is includes all subjects under the sun. For example, Encyclopedia Britannica, Maharashtriya, Maharashtra Dhyan Kosh, Marathi Vishwakosh. Now, all these are what? All these are Vishwakosh. It includes comprehensive information on one chosen subject. For example, Bharati Samkruti Kosh, Vyam Dhyan Kosh. All these are what? They are giving information about the specific subject. And one encyclopedia is there which is give information about the all the subjects. Now, encyclopedic literature, it is similar to an encyclopedia which comprises scholarly articles, provide information on all possible aspects of one or more predetermined subjects. For example, Maharashtra Jeevan, Volume 1 and 2, Shahar Pune, Volume 1 and 2, Yearbook, Manorama, Times of India. All these are what? They are the yearly gadgets. Okay, yeah, that means they are the literature which continue to publish. So that will call as encyclopedic Kosh Drush or literature. Now, what indexes are? Indexes in the books, it can be in the starting or it can be end. These are the information about the from the books only. For example, in your books, if certain words are there which is hard, so in the indexes at the end of the book, that particular word's meaning are given. For example, in your textbooks also you might find in science textbooks or in geography, you are having the references. So it indexes usually occur at the end of a book. There are few indexes published separately. Indexes are alphabetical list of individual subjects, places, keywords, reference books, etc. For example, the indexes of Marathi periodicals revised by S.G. Date. Indexes are helpful in finding required information and it makes information in a book easily accessible. As I have told you that if particular word or a place is given in your book and if you want to know more about that particular book, so indexes are given to find more about that particular place. So that's why they are called as uh, very informative. Now, encyclopedia and history. Now, how the encyclopedia and history are connected. Now, encyclopedia and history as academic exercise put stress on objectivity. Encyclopedia published in various countries and in various languages may differ in their approach because of different priorities. Their structure is influenced by national policies, ethical values, and ideas. Encyclopedias can be medium of strengthening national identity. Now, these are the benefits which we get from the historical encyclopedias. For example, Bharatiya Samrukti Kosh, edited by Mahadev Shastri Joshi, making knowledge in all spheres of life accessible to everybody, can be one of the major drives behind the creation of encyclopedia. It caters the needs of all the strata of the society. An inspiration to gain and spread knowledge motivates either individual or group of individual people to create encyclopedias. Hence, encyclopedias are looked upon as outstanding achievement of society. For example, it is more mostly objectivity. That means the quality of the society is given in the encyclopedia about a particular event which is greatly influenced to the people. That all will be included in encyclopedias. It is the manifestation of the collective intellect of the creativity of the society. And whenever encyclopedia is compiled, children, it is compiled on the basis of the research, and that's why it is the great manifestation of the society. Now, These are some of the early encyclopedias. That's it, Natural History, Encyclopedia Britannica. All these are what? All these are the earliest historical encyclopedias. Now we'll study about the encyclopedia with related to history subjects. Now here are the some list of the encyclopedias which are earliest encyclopedias. First one is Natural History, was the first encyclopedia by Pliny the Elder, first century AD. Then we have the Encyclopedia by Diderot, the French philosopher of the 18th century. Then we have the Encyclopedia Britannica. All these are encyclopedia from the 17th century, from the 16th century. This encyclopedia was published in 1700 and 1677. This is supposed to be an important milestone in the making of encyclopedia. There is an ancient tradition of dictionaries like Nigantu, Shabdakosh, etc. The encyclopedic work of Mahanabhav sect, Raja Vihar Kosh, prepared during the reign of Shivaji Maharaj, during Maharaj, are important in the books of medieval period. Then how the encyclopedias and history are related as subjects. Now, as you can see in the picture, Prachin Bhartiyachi Bhavapun, then Maharashtra Gyan Kosh, then Bhartiya Charitra Kosh. All these are Kosh means Kosh is a Marathi word which is related with encyclopedia. There is a rich tradition of creating encyclopedias on history related subjects. Now here are the some list which is given. That is first one is Bhartiya Vihar Kosh, then Maharashtra Gyan Kosh and Bhartiya Charitra Kosh. Then some special encyclopedias are Sangeet Shastrakar, Kalwant यांचा इतिहास, Lakshman Dattare Joshi यांचा इतिहास. Then here, these are the encyclopedias from the Maratha state. Then Krantikarancha Charitra Kosh by S.R. Date. It contains biographies and illustration of about 250 Indian revolutionaries in this particular book. क्रांतिकारांचा इतिहास, क्रांतिकारांचा Charitra Kosh. Revolutionary, that means those who have fought for the Indian freedom struggle. Then Swatantraveer Sainik Charitra Kosh, N.R. Pathak. It contains the biographies of those who suffered corporal punishment, imprisonment, and those who devoted their life for the independence movement. Now, in this particular, those who have uh, given their life in the for fighting by the independence movement, जिनको corporal punishment दी गई, उनका इतिहास. Now, Stalkosh. Now, Stalkosh, which is related with geographical information, that is called as Stalkosh. Maps, physiography, climatic condition, all this will comes under Stalkosh. Geographic information is essential for historical studies. Encyclopedias giving information about historical places are available. Now, Stanpoti, 14th century, is an encyclopedic text which is composed by Muni Vyas of Manubhav sect. It describes all those places visited by Chakradhar Swami, the founder of Manubhav sect. It gives an inkling about Maharashtra in those days. It gives details about the time, place, and background of events described in Leela Charitra. Hence, it is very good source for writing about the life of Chakradhar Swami. Second, Prachin Bharatiya Stalkosh in the year 1969. It is composed by Shridev Shastri Chitrao, compiled this encyclopedic book. What it includes, it provides information about the various places mentioned in Vedic literature, Kautilya, Arthashastra, Panini, grammar, Valmiki Ramayana, Mahabharat, Puranas, medieval Sanskrit literature, and Sabdakosh also, in Jain and Buddhist literature, in Greek, Chinese, Persian, and in literature. Then we have Vishwakosh, Marathi Vishwakosh, the first Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Honorable Shri Yashwantrao Chauhan, initiated the compilation of Marathi Vishwakosh through Maharashtra Rajya Sahitya Samskriti Mandal with a view to enhance the sphere of Marathi language and literature. To enhance the longevity of Marathi literature, this particular encyclopedia started publishing, that is Marathi Vishwakosh. The work was started under the guidance of Tartirth Lakshminan Shastri Joshi. It contains knowledge about all possible subjects in the world. It also contains very important entries about history, but it is in Marathi language. Then Bharatiya Samskruti Kosh, the volume of Bharatiya Samskruti Kosh were edited and published by Mahadev Shastri Joshi. These volumes contains information about Indian history, geography, various ethnic and lingual groups, local history of those groups, and their festivals and other cultural aspects. Then Samdanya Kosh. These are the encyclopedic texts explaining the terminology, for instance, colonialism, globalization, etc. Such texts are very useful for the teachers of history. School, colleges, and university teachers of history can find ample opportunities in the fields of publication of encyclopedia. For example, some history teachers take their history as a higher subject, and in philosophy and in MA subject, and for their MPhil. So at that time, they take the help of these encyclopedias to study further. Now, encyclopedias of all types requires experts in history. Every subject has a developmental aspects. Now, scholars of history can contribute significantly to encyclopedias of various types. After studying this textbook, you must have noted that with specialization in history, one can access to several careers, opportunities in various fields, and about the different encyclopedias. One is remaining here, Stalkosh. Samdanya Kosh is remaining, children. Samdanya Kosh, there are encyclopedic texts explaining the terminology, for their instance, colonialism, globalization, history, search, etc. School, college, and university children can find ample information. And while, for example, if you want to take history as your subject, you will, when you want to study from the, at the time, no question answer is given by your college teacher. So at the time, you will take the reference from these encyclopedias only. For example, if you want to take out the notes from the Maratha on the Maratha history, you will take the help of which encyclopedia here, Vishwakosh by Marathi or Bharatiya Samruddhi Kosh. You will take the information of these important encyclopedias. Now here are the some important question answers.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, madam.